Using violence is that coin toss. You don't want to make the coin toss because it's 50-50. Whoever gets the first injury is usually the first person that's going to win. Okay, you got to be that person. You know, if you don't have to make that decision, don't. Remember, the only time you are justified in using violence is when you're devoid of choice. If you have choice, the choice is always choose safety. I've never had a time in my professional life where Americans have been more concerned about their own self-protection. So as many of you know, I am a huge supporter of women getting trained. Written a book on it, trained hundreds of women over the years. My wife is, police official. She's very well trained, highly skilled martial artist, great shot. She can definitely take care of herself. I know many women that are very well trained and can take care of themselves. That's why it's so disappointing when you see a company that has a great product and they put together a production value in a piece, you know, that's highlighting women's ability to protect themselves, but they give the absolute wrong message. I don't think it was intentional. I understand why they did it, but I want to share it with you because a lot of people sent me this video. And again, you know, it's very well done. The training shown in it, I've got no problem with. Great training, but the message. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it with you. I'll be along. I'll make comments along the way, but then we're going to go over what the big problem is with this particular thing, and it's very important, especially for those of you that are trained. And this applies with this principle that I'm going to be talking about. It applies to both men and women. That's why it's worth watching. Either way, this doesn't apply just to women. It's just the example happens to be for women's self-protection. So it's the Beretta company, and they produced a video with, I forgot the female shooter's name. She's great, though. I've seen her at, I think I've seen her at Terran Tactical and stuff like that. She's excellent. So there's no comment on the people, but it's just the message. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. So this is showing, you know, a parking lot at night. Obviously, two shady guys.
Good job tonight. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll see you next week. All right, see you next week.
And here she is. She is walking out to go to her car. Showing situational awareness. She's looking around. Shady guys going into the parking lot. Again, she's not oblivious. It's not like she has earphones in or anything like that. Now she's noticing. She's getting... Both guys, here it goes. Come here. Now we're flashing to the training.
Stand.
Good training.
Let's go.
No problem with it.
Send the punch. There you go. Now flank. Draw. Stay on you.
423. Shooter ready? 2.75. Stand by.
All right. And happy ending, right? Okay. I think some of you are going to know what my issue is. Let's go back. And I know some people are going to be annoyed by this. I know some people are going to think I'm being picky. Some people are going to think, you know, I should be promoting this. But let's go right to here.
Good job tonight. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll see you next week. All right, see you next week.
This is where everything could have changed in her favor. I don't care how well trained you are. Look where she's going. She is willingly walking out in the middle of the night by herself, loaded down, to her car. I'm just going to ask you, if it was your wife, your daughter, your girlfriend, you know, if it was your son, your husband or something, in a situation like this is an unnecessary thing. Is this the decision you want them to make just because they're trained? You know, the whole goal is, you know, when they show the training later on, that was the thing. I mean, when you show when she gets attacked, and you show this part where she starts, going back and get the training flashbacks. Okay, let's watch this. Right here. Boom.
Scan.
I'll tell you what happens with the women I know that are trained. There's a behavioral change in them. Yes, they realize that they are capable, that they can injure a predator, that they can use their tools, their weapons, their firearms, their knives, their blunt instruments. But would they ever willingly put themselves in a position where it's more likely for that to happen? No, you make better decisions. Somebody doing what this woman does in the ad would be an untrained person, would be somebody who's oblivious to violence, not somebody who's trained, I would hope. So while I agree with training the women, and I love the way this woman was training, it just goes against everything to show her in a position where she willingly puts herself in a deficit. It's just not something that it really is counter. The whole message is destroyed by the wrong context. You don't want to be doing things that possibly could, lead to violence when it's so avoidable. You could have had somebody walk out to you. You could have waited. There's so many other things that you could have done. You could have parked somewhere else. There's just so many decisions that you're made. And the reason I know this is because the people come to me after the fact when they've made decisions like this. So again, oftentimes when we see stuff, now it's a very well done, the production was excellent, cool angles, using the CCT type black and white footage and everything. Fantastic. I love it. I just wish they had shown something where the woman was making a better situational awareness decision on that, and that she didn't have to go to that. I know it's sexy. I know it's cool. I know everybody wants to see the violence. But again, your goal should be the more you train, the more difficult target you become. You don't make yourself an easy target. This woman made herself an easy target, and it's being promoted as a good thing because why? She had a gun and she could protect herself with her training. Dicey. Not the message I'd want to put out. So again, think about these things. When you watch stuff like this, this is the end result. This is, luckily it turned out well for her because of her training in this, in this scenario that they put together, but it easily could have gone the other way. It's just not something you want to do. You have to be smart. You have to understand the odds. Using violence is that coin toss. You don't want to make the coin toss because it's 50-50. Whoever gets the first injury is usually the first person that's going to win. Okay, you got to be that person. If you don't have to make that decision, don't. Remember, the only time you are justified in using violence is when you're devoid of choice. If you have choice, the choice is always choose safety. Choose the better path. Be a harder target. So again, great production value, excellent training, excellent equipment. The Beretta is a fantastic tool. No qualms with any of it. Just a mismatch in the message. So that's me. That's my review. Thank you guys. All the people. I had literally hundreds of people send me this video and asking my opinion of it. And some of you shared my opinion right away. Others thought it was great. So again, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. And again, share your comments. You disagree with me? Let me know. All right. Until next time, stay safe.